The man used a homemade nail gun to secretly drive 2 expansion hooks into the bank's wall. Then he took out a hydraulic puller and finally fixed the steel wire rope to both ends of the hooks. As soon as the puller was started, a large hole would be instantly torn in the bank's stone wall. Next, the two brought their tools and secretly came to the vault's giant anti-theft door. They took out an electric drill and started drilling right at the lock core of the steel door. But they had to complete the theft within 10 minutes, because once the lock core of the steel door was abnormally opened, the police would arrive within 10 minutes. Then, the accomplice took out potassium permanganate and concentrated sulfuric acid and poured them into the keyhole in proportion. In just 10 seconds, the lock core of the vault door would explode. Next, Casey used an endoscope to carefully observe the structure between the gears, because if there was the slightest deviation, the vault's steel door would be completely locked. After determining the specific angle of the lock bolt, Casey did not hesitate to turn the dial. When all the gears were locked in the correct position, the 2-ton vault door was successfully opened. Seeing the neatly arranged gold bricks inside, Hayek chose the banknotes on the side, because each gold brick weighed 25 kilograms, while the banknotes worth 10 million only weighed 210 kilograms. But just when they succeeded in the theft, a large number of SWAT officers with real guns had already surrounded the bank. Seeing the locked bank door, they directly fixed an iron chain on it, with the other end of the chain fixed to an armored car. But when they rushed into the bank, they found nothing, because Casey and his partner had already slipped out the back door. But what they never expected was that an old man suddenly appeared here. In order to prevent the old man from reporting their appearances, the accomplice knocked the old man down with a punch. But just as he was about to kill the old man to silence him, Casey suddenly protected the old man, because once the police found out about the intentional killing, what awaited them would definitely be life in prison. But at this extremely critical moment, the getaway driver arrived just in time. In order to quickly escape to the car, Casey dragged his accomplice and ran towards the car. Unexpectedly, during the intense argument, the accomplice injured himself severely. Casey had no choice but to pull the accomplice into the car first and then return to the original place, because their 10 million was still at the back door. But the gunshots just now had already alerted the police. In order to avoid being captured alive by them, the accomplice suddenly stepped on the gas and drove away. This outrageous operation instantly stunned Casey. But just as he was chasing his accomplice, he was suddenly blocked by the police who came after hearing the sound. After getting rid of the police, Casey quickly drove the police car, ready to leave this troubled place. But unexpectedly, the police behind him not only pursued relentlessly, but even forced Casey into the parking lot. But they did not know that the desperate Casey had already put his life and death aside. But just as Casey shook off the police, he suddenly found that the exit was set up with a roadblock. But he could only brace himself and rush out. As the tires were punctured by the road spikes, the out-of-control car crashed into a processing plant. But Casey was not only not panicked at all, he even went out to surrender in a swaggering manner. When the SWAT team pushed Casey to the ground, they found that Casey's money bag was actually empty. The 10 million in cash had disappeared into thin air.